Live, it says, good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening, depending on where you happen to be watching this from. It's March 31st, the last day of the quarter, and we have a really special lunch with Len today because we have one of my favorite people in the world, Adam Chandler, on as a special guest. And I don't know that Adam needs any introduction from me. I'm just going to bring him on out here and let's start chatting. Adam, I'm really excited to have you here. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Len. Always a pleasure. Always love jumping out on lunch with Len and sharing some stuff with your people.
Hey, well, let's start with some really important stuff. I got 3 days of skiing in this week.
Yeah, congratulations.
Really jazzed. I got almost 52,000 vertical feet in 3 days. It's the Epic Pass. And so, it tracks how many rides you've had and how many feet you've got. So that was pretty awesome.
I have the Epic Pass too, actually.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah. So where have you been skiing recently or riding?
Well, I've been going to Copper a lot, actually. My friend, and that's not one of the Epic Pass mountains, but my friend got me a 5-pack to Copper for Christmas, and I've been really getting to know that mountain a lot. And I went there on Easter on Sunday, and it was just an amazing day. And really getting to know the mountain really well. And she knows the mountain like the back of her hand, so she knows where all the cool stuff is. So
cool.
Yeah.
I've never been to Copper.
Yeah.
I'll have to put it on my bucket list.
For sure. Copper is awesome. It's probably my favorite mountain in Colorado that I've been to, and I've been to quite a few.
Neat. Hey, well, let's just, I know there's a lot of people here that know your background or have heard your story before, but just in case we have somebody who hasn't, why don't we just start at the beginning? And I do have a bunch of questions for you, but why don't we just start at the beginning?
Yeah, sure.
I never get tired of listening to how you were replaced by a sign.
Yeah, right. Okay. I don't know if I'll go all the way into that story, right? But yeah, that's one of my stories. Yeah, what's up, Larry? I saw Larry. Larry said hi, and then I'll just say hi to Bob. What's up, Rick? Chris? Hello. And that's it for the chat. Yeah, welcome all you guys who are on here hearing my voice right now. So I mean, I got involved in the industry in 2008. I just lost 2 newspaper advertising jobs in a period of about 6 months after moving 2,000 miles across the country by myself, from where I lived in the Northeast to where I live now here in Colorado. And I was looking for I was actually looking on Craigslist for another advertising job, even though I just lost 2 in 6 months. I was looking for another one. That just sounds crazy to say, but I didn't really know what else to do at the time. And I saw a little business opportunity ad on Craigslist that said, we can show you how to make money online. And I was skeptical, but I was also very intrigued and very curious and very I didn't really have much to lose at the time. And so that next thing I know, I was borrowing $2,000 and starting my first online marketing business. Starting my first direct selling business that was attached to an online marketing system. So I was starting to learn online marketing and lead generation from the very beginning. And then a little while later, I found another online system called MLSP when it was just being launched back in 2008. And I dove right in, and that was when I started to get some results. Up until that point, I didn't have any results, except for spending a lot of money and, racking up a lot of debt and, banging my head against the wall trying to figure it all out. But right when I found MLSP, things started to kind of move for me, and I went full-time shortly after that, and about 6 months later. So in my first, even though I didn't make any money in my first 6 months, in my first year, I was able to go full-time. And I'll tell you, one of the things, I was at MLSP, like when it first launched, it was very, it had the newness factor, right? It doesn't quite have that now, so it's not it was a lot easier for me to recruit a lot of people into MLSP back in early 2009, than it is now. That's just the reality of the situation. Now there's more competition. There's more, there's more options for people. Back then, MLSP was the only online lead generation system. And I don't say that to, to discourage you, but just to tell you like the reality of the situation. Things have changed quite a bit in the industry from 2009 to today, right? And but the fundamentals are still the same, and you can still create a lot of leverage and win big, but you really do have to put yourself out there in a big way and create a lot of value, and you have to really commit to creating skills, right? Like influence skills and communication skills and marketing skills. You've got to get that, and that's why something a system like MLSP is great, because it teaches you how to do that, how to become an influential person who can create on demand. So that was a little bit of a tangent.
Again?
I said that was a little bit of a tangent after my story, but I figured it kind of worked.
Well, it's a good tangent, because I think I know that I'm finding that, and I think that other people are finding that it too. It's really hard to. I don't know. I don't want to say it's really hard, but you have to work at recruiting into MLSP these days. One of the things that I find is that a lot of people. I keep finding a lot of people that either are already in it or have tried it, and they've been there, done that, and etc.
Yeah, but at the same time, I will tell you that there's been maybe 100,000 people that have gone through the doors of MLSP since it's been created. There's maybe 14 million network marketers in the world and counting. Mm-hmm. So that still leaves 13,900,000 people that have never seen it, and more and more people are coming online every single day, and I'll tell you one thing that you really need to do. Number one, you need to stand out from the crowd, right? You can't. You have to rise above the noise and stand out from the crowd, and that can be. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do, because there is a lot of noise and there is a very big crowd, and if everybody's saying the same thing. So one of the things that I learned from from Dan Kennedy, he said look at the norms in the industry. Like in your industry, look at what's normal, what everybody is doing, and ask yourself, how can you just turn that completely on its head? Like how can you be completely different as a way to completely stand out from what everybody else is doing? Now that can sound a little bit, counter to, a big message of like, do what successful people are doing, and that's not meant to, to counter that, because you can create a lot of results by modeling what successful people do. However, like for example, one of the things that I noticed that people were doing is all of their emails like a few years ago in the industry, all of the emails were like, very narrow margins, right? And they were just a little bit of text, and like the margins were very narrow in the email, and the text was very small, and everybody's email looked pretty much the same, right? So I started making my emails bigger text and stretch all the way across the page. Now, there's some copywriters that would say that you want to have narrow margins, right, in your text to make it easier to read. But for me, it was a way to stand out from the crowd a little bit and just be a little bit different than what people are used to seeing. So do you see the value in that? Just looking at things that everybody is doing and asking yourself, how can you be a little bit different?
Absolutely. I see the value in that completely and totally. Yeah, for sure. Well, since we're on the topic of MLSP, you and your business partner Justice are launching a new. In fact, the new challenge starts today.
Yeah, it's actually not. We're actually launching the recordings of the last challenge. So right. we're not actually doing another live challenge. We've just created the challenge as a live thing where people can can plug in and do it as though it's a live challenge, but in reality it's the recordings. And one of the reasons why we decided to do that, I mean, number one is to leverage our time and create some automation, but because the challenge, we don't really teach a whole lot of new stuff in the challenge. I mean, it's really the fundamentals. It's the same stuff that worked 5 years ago. It's it's content creation, it's audience building, it's communication with prospects, getting exposures, tracking your results, to be tracking your income producing activities to see what to kind of have a tracking system in place to see what you're actually doing and what you're not doing. It's a lot of those things that are really fundamental that will never go out of style. It's not like we're just teaching some hot marketing strategy that may be here today but not be effective tomorrow. I mean, these are the fundamentals of building a business that have worked for years and will continue to work for years.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the questions somebody asked me is if people that were in the challenge when it was live, the live version of the challenge, are automatically in these new ones. And I think I know the answer, but
yeah,
I'll let you have it.
I mean, if they want to, if they're so if somebody did the Biz Builder challenge that we did earlier this year, right, then they're automatically in this new challenge if they want to participate, right? They can easily sign up and just go through the whole process again. So which is pretty cool. I mean, they could, people could go through it, go through the 6 weeks, stop for a couple weeks, and then start all over again. Yeah. Right. But however, if you were part of one of our challenges that we did in the past, like 2 years ago, or like the Dream Year challenge that we did at the beginning of last year, or like one of our other 100-day challenges that we did 2 years ago, you wouldn't automatically be able to just do the challenge again. But if you did the one that we did in January, you could absolutely repeat it and go through it again for sure.
Yeah, because we own those recordings anyhow, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of signing up and doing it again.
Yeah, but I mean, but a big benefit to people that are in, that are already in the challenge is that they get to promote the challenge along with their affiliate link as a way to grow their team inside of MLSP. So we've actually created, we finagled and created it in such a way that somebody can just put on their MLSP affiliate link onto one of our webinar links or one of our promotional links, and they can actually leverage what we've put together. They can leverage the challenge as a way to get people into their own MLSP team. So that's one of the other major benefits to it, is not just being able to go through it again, but actually promote it and promote the urgency of it to grow your team. Because that's one thing that a lot of people don't have, is urgency. They don't have any urgency inside their funnel, right? I mean, they don't have any, people, like your prospects know they could just as easily join you in your business opportunity or your marketing system next week as they can today. So that's why we create, that's one of the major benefits of one of our coaching programs. The way that we've set up our challenge is that you can actually, we've found a way to kind of engineer urgency into the process, because there's an actual start date where you can't join. You can still join the marketing system, but you can't get all the benefits of the coaching program unless you join by this specific date.
But it repeats every week, right?
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Okay.
You don't tell them that.
Okay. Let's see. There was a couple other things here. Let me go read my notes. In all we're changing topics over to Twitter.
Okay.
By the way, the Twitter trainings have been awesome. I was on the training last night. I've been implementing the Twitter strategy that you taught several weeks ago, and I'm up to a couple thousand followers, and I'm going to admit that I haven't been completely consistent in adding new people every day, but I am getting leads almost every day. from Twitter. So it's really cool. And
imagine if you were growing the audience consistently every day, you'd probably be getting more leads.
Well, and I am determined to become more consistent with it going forward here. Just as soon as I get back home from being up skiing. But the thing that's amazing, it really is working very well right now. Are you also doing Instagram?
Yeah.
Is any of the strategies or tactics you're using on Twitter spilling over into Instagram?
I mean, not really. Instagram isn't exactly like my a primary strategy for me. I mean, I still do it, and I still post stuff on Instagram. But it's not like, it's not as much of a primary strategy for me as Twitter is. But one thing that I have found effective on Instagram is like creating an image that has some text on the image itself that says, click my bio to whatever it happens to be. So like if there's a specific webinar, like for example, my Twitter training webinar, like that was one of the MLSP system campaigns. Like I could have, and I actually did this for the first webinar, not for this past one, but it actually worked pretty well for the first one, is I just created a link, or I mean, I created an image and I overlaid some text over the image that said, want my Twitter strategy for blah, 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 whatever it was, click the link in my bio to get it, right? Or click the link in my bio to sign up now, or whatever the call to action was. So it was basically, and somebody said, well, can't you just put the text right into the, can't you just, rather than having that text actually overlaid over the image, can't you just have that text, in the text of the post? And yeah, you could do that, but if you want it front and center and for people to see it, for it to really jump out at people, you want to have the text right on the image itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like actually having a call to action right on the image itself that said, go check my bio, and then you got to give them a really good reason to go there, right? So like I have an Instagram, I've got an Instagram training that the MLSP Instagram training that I give away on my Instagram account. So sometimes I'll create an image ad on my Instagram that just says, want to see how to use Instagram to automate your business or whatever it happened to be. Click the link in my bio to learn how, and send them to the bio like that. So that's one thing that I have found that has been effective on Instagram.
Okay, cool. Hey, so I see, and by the way, all of you who are out there in the listening audience, we'll take questions. So Ray Terrell just wrote, how did you end up in Bryan Finelli's MLM back in the day? Was it a free training, an ad on Facebook? How did it happen?
Well, I was actually, it's funny because I told you earlier that I got started in a direct sales company that had an online marketing system kind of built into it. And one of the people that were, Bryan and his partner Norbert at the time, they were both doing really well in this company. Like they were killing it, in this online marketing system. Doing really well, making $40,000-$50,000 a month in this particular opportunity, and because of that, I was following them. Because they were in the spotlight of this company, I was following them and trying to model myself, like trying to become as much like them as I possibly could, right? Watching their videos, stalking them on Facebook, just trying to do what see whatever they were doing that I could be more like them because they were getting the results that I wanted. And I was watching one of Bryan Finelli's videos, and he said we're in the process of launching an online marketing system that's completely generic that can that will help any home business owner in any opportunity leverage the attraction marketing principles that we use to become successful in our particular opportunity. See, at the time, the only thing that was um, like the only online marketing that was happening as far as like a system goes was like the system that I got into that was attached to one company. So the only way that you could leverage this system was if you were promoting this one company. It wasn't like, you know, today where there's all kinds of, you know, lead systems and, you know, online systems where you can, you know, where you can put it in as a front end to lead people into whatever you want. That didn't exist. So I mean, you know, to answer your question, that's how. I mean, I was following him online, watching his videos. He made a video one day that said we're launching this new generic marketing system, and because he had the results that I wanted, I jumped right in.
So you've been in MLSP since day one, basically.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I would say I'm probably in the, you know, maybe first 50 members ever of the system.
And that was, and out of curiosity, that was what year? Not 2008.
That was late 2008.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think late 2008. I think.
Let me rewind the clock a little bit. What brought you? You've told us a number of times you moved across the country.
Yeah.
What prompted you originally to move across the country? Why did you leave the East Coast and come to Colorado?
I mean, it was just time for a change in my life. I mean, I was ready for something different. I wanted to experience the West a little bit. You know, I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. That was what it was all about. I kind of wanted a fresh start, to be honest with you.
Were you already a diehard ski bum or snowboard bum, or did that come later?
No, I started skiing when I was 5 years old.
Oh, what? Really? Yeah. Where at?
In Vermont. It was a little ski resort in Vermont called Cochrane's. It's actually the first ever ski resort in the United States. And they actually had a lot of, you know, the Cochrane's family. They owned the ski resort, and they had a lot of Olympic skiers that came from that family. So that was where I learned to ski when I was like 5 years old. And then when I was about 12 years old, I switched from skiing to snowboarding, and I've been doing that ever since.
You know, I got to tell you, I've only had one experience in Vermont, and I went to Killington, and it was one of these amazing things. I drove all day on a Friday on a 3-day weekend. I was down in New York, and I drove all day on Friday, and on my way into Killington, it was really snowing hard, just tons of snow coming down, real blizzard. And I'm going, yeah, wow, this is going to be awesome. So I get to Killington, I park the van, I go into a restaurant, get some dinner. When I come back out of the restaurant, it is freaking pouring rain.
Bummer.
You laugh. Go ahead. And I'm going, oh my God. But I figured, okay, the temperature will drop back again overnight. It'll turn to snow again. Nah, wrong. So I get up the next morning. There are people, you know, they're standing in line buying lift tickets with garbage bags on.
Yeah. So does that answer your question why I moved to Colorado?
Very smart move. It also answers the question why I drank beer and ate pizza that day and didn't go to Killington and never actually skied at Killington.
Right.
I wasn't about to put on a garbage bag and pay $70 for a lift ticket to go ride in the rain.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Killington because you mentioned earlier my story about getting replaced by a board by a wooden sign. That was actually a job that I had at Killington.
No kidding. Yeah. You know what? Thank you for sharing that. I've always wanted to ask you what resort that was at, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I went to college. That was when I was in college. I went to college maybe about 45 minutes away from Killington.
Wow. Okay. Well, I've done most of my skiing on the West Coast. I was bred as a skier out here,
sure.
and then in the 90s, I'll make this very short. But in the 90s, I was bi-coastal. I had a house in California and an office in New York, and I have a friend that's got a bed and breakfast up at Whiteface, Lake Placid, and we used to call it Ice Face.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, and that's when I bought what I called my East Coast ice skates, 200 centimeter long Rosinol 5Gs, so I could hold an edge on the beginner's hill.
Right.
Yeah, East Coast skiing is different.
Well, they say if you could ski in the Northeast, you can ski anywhere because very, very icy and very narrow trees.
I absolutely, absolutely. When I came out to the East Coast and started skiing there for the first, having learned to ski in California, it was a very, very challenging transition.
Totally.
I find that I went from sort of expert to sort of beginner,
Yeah.
in one afternoon. So.
Right.
So anyhow, we're going to wrap up in the next couple or 3 minutes, and I want to tell you, I really thank you for being here. But I have really two questions. First question is, what's your biggest triumph in terms of being in this business, being in this industry? If you can look back and point at one thing, what would you point at and say you're really proud of it?
I would probably have to say the Mile High Mastermind event that I hosted a couple months ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a big deal for me. I had never done I'd done other events like with business partners, with people like Justice and other people, but I'd never launched an event like, where it was all me. It was my event. It was my, and I really, some people told me that was the best event they'd ever been to, and these are people that go to a lot of events. So yeah, Larry Ryan was there. Thank you, Larry, for saying so. But yeah, I would say that was probably it. Was the Mile High Mastermind, and then the VIP kind of upsell of that was the Colorado experience, where we went on a train ride through the Rocky Mountains, and we went in the hot springs in Glenwood Springs. It was so that whole experience that I created that's probably what I'm most proud of. The coolest thing I've ever done in business, for sure.
You planning to do it again?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'll become an annual thing.
Cool. Yeah. So if I start seriously getting ready to come to the event, I can look forward to it. It's going to be in the winter next year. Do you have any idea?
I'm probably going to do it next January. I haven't actually locked down any dates yet, but
right.
It'll be January. Yeah, I like doing it at the beginning of the year, the very beginning.
I'm going on record in public. I'm going to be there. Save us. I'm going to make the next one.
All right.
I am coming. Hey, one final question. Do you have, and I'm going to toss out over to the audience again too. If anybody has any last questions you'd like to toss out, this is your chance. Adam's here. Ask them. And by the way, Adam, the training last night was absolutely off the charts, and you covered several points that I've been struggling with and wasn't quite sure how to deal with Twitter. So I learned a hell of a lot last night, and I am implementing everything you taught last night.
Excellent.
For sure. So I can't stress enough how great that training was. And for anyone who's doing, if you guys aren't doing this Twitter strategy, well, we've talked about this almost every week on Lunch with Len for the last several weeks. If you're not doing it, you're missing out right now on something that's really hot. And if there's anybody out there that needs any help, I'm doing it. Several of us are doing it. And of course, Adam's here. Reach out and ask for help. So, do you have any big regrets? What's your biggest regret?
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe not getting into the industry sooner.
Yeah.
Right. I talked to a guy recently. He's just getting started in his business. He's 18 years old. Because I didn't get started till I was 27, and now I'm 34. But I'm like, man, if I started when I was 18, I'd be retired by now.
Yeah. Well, you're living the life. You really are. And I'm not going to tell you how old I was when I got involved. But hey, it is what it is. I had a lot of fun running the flight school. It was fun.
That's awesome.
But well, that's it. I don't see any more questions coming up. Larry says 1,971 new followers this month. Good for you, Larry. Nice.
Awesome,
Sweet.
Nice work.
Yeah. And so Larry, are you getting leads? So new followers is nice. Leads is what's important. And
I'm sure Larry is getting. Larry knows what he's doing. I'm sure he's getting.
Yeah. Well, are you sure of that?
I'm positive.
Oh, okay.
He did just come from the Mile High Mastermind, and and he was a rock star before then too. So
Larry's a good guy. Larry's a good guy. Okay. Hey, what can I say, Adam? I really, really, really appreciate you being here today. It was a lot of fun. I always enjoy talking to you. You are my favorite hero in this business.
oh, thank you.
For so many reasons. Well, and because you live the lifestyle that I want to live too. You're living in the mountains and you're skiing, well, riding. We'll use the word skiing as a generic term, and you're living the lifestyle that I want to aspire to. So I just love talking to you. I want to remind everybody on here that I am on at 12:30 today. For those of you who don't know it, go to just about 30 seconds here and we're done. Go to my Facebook page and look up the login details for the Global Peace Going Viral, and I'm being interviewed at 12:30, so 30 minutes from now on Global Peace Going Viral. And Saturday morning we will be back with the next edition of the Dream with Len, which is our law of attraction. And this Saturday, what we're working on is building belief. If you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. And remember, the hardest part of that is building belief and really believing that you can achieve what you've conceived. So we're going to be working on building belief Saturday morning. And other than that, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Adam. It's been wonderful. It's been a real pleasure. I really appreciate you. And I am going to hit the stop broadcast button.
Cool.
Going once.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye for now.